Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're going to unpack something truly fascinating. We're decoding the high-impact media strategy of MOTOBHUB. You know, if you've ever watched an automotive comparison and just felt completely captivated, well, there's a very specific, carefully crafted formula behind it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the MOTOBHUB blueprint to see exactly how they construct the ultimate auto comparison, step by step. So let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We'll be looking at deep dive strategy fundamentals, real-world practicality tests, the off-road Titan script, comparing power and tech, and finally, the final verdict.
Section 1. Deep Dive Strategy Fundamentals.
So, establishing authority, it isn't just about tossing out an opinion. It really requires a structured deep dive. And MOTOBHUB relies on 3 distinct pillars to completely transform a basic review into an actual experience. We've got the numbers game, the livable tech, and the cargo test. Each one targets a totally different way that we actually experience a vehicle. Now, this whole foundation always begins with the numbers game, right? Because before anyone gets seduced by that new car smell, they want the raw data. We're talking the hard engine specs, the maximum towing capacity, and of course, the ever-critical real-world miles per gallon. This grounds the entire comparison in verifiable facts before we even start talking about how the car actually feels.
Section 2. Real-world practicality tests.
But here's the thing, raw data is really just the beginning. A car actually has to exist in the real world, which brings us to livable tech. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it highlights real usability rather than just listing off features from a shiny brochure. MOTOBHUB asks the real questions, like how many clicks does it actually take to just change the AC? They're out there testing how well voice commands function when you're flying down the highway, prioritizing true, everyday usability over those flashy but incredibly frustrating interfaces. And that exact same philosophy applies to physical space with the cargo test. Seriously, how many suitcases actually fit? Look, it is incredibly easy to just quote official cubic feet from a spreadsheet. But honestly, cubic feet means absolutely nothing when you're playing Tetris with luggage on a chaotic family road trip. Throwing real, physical suitcases into the trunk gives us an immediate, practical understanding of the space.
Section 3. The Off-Road Titans Script. Let's see this blueprint in action. Just listen to this opening hook. 3 Titans, 1 trail. Today, MOTOBHUB settles the score between the Ford Raptor, Chevy ZR2, and the Ram TRX. I mean, that is pure cinematic energy right there. It sets the stakes instantly and hooks the audience by promising a definitive answer to a massive, long-standing rivalry. Section 4. Comparing power and tech. So when the script actually moves into the battle, it applies our pillars to these highly capable machines. 702. That is the absolutely staggering, supercharged horsepower of the Ram TRX. I mean, just putting a massive number like that front and center completely grabs our attention, and it establishes the sheer, terrifying scale of power in this showdown. But the blueprint requires nuance, right? We have to contrast that brutal TRX muscle against the Ford Raptor's legendary high-speed agility. And then we balance both of those against the Chevy ZR2's rugged, trail-ready V8. Doing this creates a really compelling narrative of distinct personalities. You've got the powerhouse, the agile sprinter, and the rugged crawler. And this brilliantly illustrates where the tech battle gets granular. Off-roading is all about suspension, and the script dives deep into the hardware. Ford's Fox Live Valve, Chevy's Multimatic DSSV, and Ram's Bilstein Black Hawks. This approach makes a highly technical subject totally accessible, letting us easily compare the distinct engineering approaches these brands take to conquering the trail. Section 5. The Final Verdict.
Now, to settle a massive score like this, you can't just guess. You need absolutely bulletproof data. The secret weapon here is a highly specific behind-the-scenes workflow. First, you upload official PDFs, like those massive OEM brochures. Second, you import your research directly from your source panel. And finally, you instantly generate detailed spec-by-spec data tables. This means pulling exact horsepower, precise legroom, and specific suspension travel figures, practically guaranteeing flawless accuracy. But the utility of that data doesn't just end with the script itself. You can actually transform all of that raw research into a structured studio panel study guide,
For production, this is an absolute game changer. It perfectly organizes your filming segments so that when those cameras roll, every single spec and talking point is instantly at your fingertips. It saves so much time and stress on what is usually a pretty chaotic set. And all that meticulously researched data leads right back to the ultimate payoff for the viewer. It culminates in this provocative closing question from the script. Which truck is the king of the desert and which one is the master of the rocks? It perfectly summarizes the showdown and leaves the audience absolutely needing to know the answer. Now, to find out who actually won, you'd have to subscribe to MOTOBHUB for their full breakdown. But I'll leave you with this. How could applying this precise 3-pillar deep dive strategy completely transform the way you analyze and explain your own areas of expertise? Think about it.